Hey everyone, I'm Corjo, CJ, and welcome to Commander Class episode 55. In today's class is going to be a little bit different. We're going over enchantment creatures. When it comes to these type of cards, they are both technically counted as enchantments and also technically counted as creatures, but the rules still apply. So these cards can somewhat be confusing depending on killing creatures, destroying enchantments, activate abilities for how many enchantments you have. So this is actually not very difficult, but something you'll eventually have to get your head around. When it comes to enchantment creatures, there is so many. They're all different rarities. There's common, uncommon, rare, and mythic ones. There's different versions of them. So there was, I think, 60 cards per page for maybe 2 or 3 pages. So I'm not going to be going over all of them. However, I will be giving you a gist of what an enchantment creature is and stuff you can do with enchantment creatures. Starting off with one of the rules being, as long as it's a legendary creature, it can be your commander. So yes, having a legendary enchantment creature as your commander is possible. It doesn't have to solely be a legendary creature. It can also be an enchantment creature. Now, when it comes to these, most people use like gods or a handful of cards. I personally have a extra turn Kurnos deck, I think his name is, and that is a legendary enchantment creature. However, there is a number of legendary enchantment creatures you can use as your commander, such as Anethkia, Hand of Erebos, Arasta the Endless Web, Amphimia the Cacophony, Goshintai of Life's Origin, Kestia the Calivatir, Shigenki Jukai Visionary, Cephas Harvest's Hand. So if any of those cards interest you for starting a commander deck, do so and let me know. Make it on Moxfield or anything like that and show me your decks. I love seeing other people's decks, but there's still a lot more enchantment creatures to go through. So the next thing I'll be going over are flip cards. I have done a commander class on flip cards before, but a quick version of them is they're pretty much double-sided cards where there's multiple ways to get them to flip. There is some new cards that are coming out that are also flip, and sometimes they flip into multiple things. So when it comes to these are cards that rather are enchantment creatures or flip into enchantment creatures that you might want to put in some of your decks, and here are some flip enchantment creatures on screen now. Fable of the Mirror Breaker, Haitetsu Consumes All, Invention Interaction, Jugen Defends the Temple, Teaching of the Kirin, The Restoration of Igorgian, The Kami War, Tribute to Horobi, and I am a sucker when it comes to collecting. I collect so many things. I try and collect the Mystical Archives, I collect certain cards, I collect certain creature types like Eldrazi, I collect like certain lands as well. I'm addicted to this game and collecting stuff, but one thing I've been trying to get my hands on are all the gods. Now these are cards that are usually enchantment creature god, and there's different versions of them. There is a lot of gods and they're releasing more gods, especially in the new set with flip gods added in too. So when it comes to this, I'll be going over not all of the gods, but some of my favourite, and here they are on screen now. Athreos Shrouds Veiled, Phoria God of the Polis, Clothis God of Destiny, Neela Keen-Eyed, Ferrica God of Affection, Krufix God of Horizons, Mogus God of Slaughter, Phoenix God of Deception, Xanagos God of Revels, Iris God of Victory, Karametra God of Harvests, Prefros God of the Forge, Kernos God of Storms, Thassa's Deep Dwelling. So by now you're probably getting a gist of what an enchantment creature is, or you've just seen a bunch of cards that you really like, or seen a card or two that you're like, that will go good in my deck, or you might have learned something, but you can't do an enchantment creature video without just giving an honorable mention. These are just legendary or mythic enchantment creatures that are also really good in general. So these are cards that you might see in a deck, or you want to see in a deck, or might help you benefit, and they're really good cards, and here's some on screen now. Satri Fire Dancer, Demon of Fate's Design, Nyxborn Behemoth, Dryad of the Elysian Grove, Weaver of Harmony, Nightmarish Shepherd, Nyxbloom Agent. So when it comes to these cards in general, a few things you need to look at is if you are building a deck and you see draw a card for a number of enchantments you have, or just draw X number of cards in general, have a look of how many enchantments you have in your deck or enchantment creatures you have in your deck. If there's cards that say whenever you play a enchantment, draw a card, and there's 2 cards you want and they have pretty much the same ability, but one's an enchantment creature, but one's just a creature, I would throw that enchantment creature in, because if they're the exact same, you still get that additional benefit. There's many things you can do with enchantment creatures, you just need to keep an eye out on them. It doesn't make or break the game unless you're making a full enchantment deck, but just always looking in your normal general deck to throw 1 or 2 in is always a good idea. So when it comes to these, I really like enchantment creatures. They're probably one of my favorite things because creatures are my favorite and enchantments are my favorite when it comes to the overall magic thing. And these cards are usually really good. I love that when there's the amount of times I've been literally like, here, enchantment creature, and people are like, oh no. Or the amount of times someone's played like destroy an enchantment and people have not looked at my creatures and destroyed someone else's enchantment or one of my weaker enchantments. And I'm like, you could have picked that, and they're like, rats, I didn't think about it. So they are still really good cards and they hide under well depending on how you play. But if you have any questions when it comes to enchantments, let me know in the comments down below and I'll try my best to help you out as much as possible. If there's any of these cards that you've seen that you want to put in your deck, also let me know. While you're down there, remember to like, subscribe and follow me on all my social media. But as always, if you like this Commander class, I have last week's Commander class here, a playlist with all the Commander classes here, and a subscribe button here. And I will see you all in the next video.